is it possible to find a recruiter that actually cares about you in the market that we're in right now? The answer is yes, and I'm going to tell you how. This is Atlas All Access.
Hi, I am Beth Burns. I have been a recruiter with Atlas MedStaff for 3.5 years now. I live in a little town just outside of Birmingham, Alabama, so I'm at Atlas as a remote employee. A little bit about me. Professionally, before I came to this job, I was a teacher and an assistant principal, and I worked for like a big public school district in Atlanta. And I'm also a mom. I have two littles, a newly 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So we're busy.
Tell me about like when you decided to make that change. What went through your head? Because we're middle of the pandemic, right? I mean, that was when you came on with us. And so there was a lot of uncertainty in the industry even back then.
Yeah, so I wish I could sit and tell you that I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, but I didn't. Right when the pandemic hit, I had my first son, and right in the middle there. And I had already decided in February of 2020, I decided that I wasn't going to go back to public ed. I was going to take the year to like be a mom and then figure it out. Well, then all hell broke loose. And then my husband was a marketing guy at a big airline company, lost his job in May of 2020. So I was like, so much for our plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so the two of us were just like, I guess the two of us will just try to find something, and recruiting had always been something that I thought that I would be good at. Just like my natural skill set, I guess. And I had reached out to Kelly Koski, and I had taught with her. The last time I talked to Kelly was in 2009. I was a baby teacher and I taught with Kelly. And I remembered her sharing actually some marketing content on her Facebook. And I was like, she became a recruiter. Let me like see what that was like. And so I reached out to her. I was like, can you just talk to me about like the transition from like education to recruiting? And she was like, oh my gosh, Mary Beth, you have to work at Atlas. I was like, Atlas? I'm like, I was just asking in general. And she was like, I'm calling my boss right now. So like within a couple days, like I had a call, and I just had a really good feeling, like a vibe about it before I came. I just in my heart, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. But I really kind of learned on the job, like I didn't know. I'll be so honest with you. Even when I applied, I didn't even know what med surge was. Like, I remember the first time someone said med surge, I was like, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Mm.
Now I do. But yeah, so it ended up just being what at the time I took as like chaos, but it ended up being just like this beautiful set of circumstances that led me here to a job where it's like the best fit for me. So
You have a very passionate following, right? The travelers that you have right now are some of the most loyal travelers that Atlas has. Talk about how kind of that journey that you went through is paralleled through their journey, taking a contract, going from place to place, that type of thing.
yeah, so I mean, first of all, thank you so much for saying that because I absolutely love my nurses like so much, and I fully believe that I work with some of like the best of the best. So I love that they're making that impression on others too. But I think that's part of how we bond, because I talk to especially a lot of my first timers who are scared to make the jump, right? And there's always like a million reasons not to do something, and we talk those through, right? And then we typically end up at the place where I'm like, look, I was in that spot. I was an assistant principal at an elementary school, and now I'm a recruiter at a travel nurse agency. Like, how wild is that? I'm like, but sometimes you just have to start before you're ready, and just kind of take that leap. And what's great about our role as the recruiter at Atlas, they're not jumping alone. Even though they might, physically be alone, like I'm not there physically, I'm always there with them. And I can understand, like, what it's like to pivot, change it up, take the chance. And so we're kind of partners in that sense for sure.
I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows right now,
No.
obviously. And so talk about the honesty that comes along with those especially those first timers that you talk to, or the referrals that your travelers send to you, like that your nurses send to you, and then you have to have those honest conversations. Like, I mean, it really is not the best time in our industry right now.
So I think there's two parts to that. Like the first thing that I really try to do and what I tell them is one of my primary responsibilities is make sure that you're never surprised. I'm going to try to do what I can to front load you with as much information as possible. We're going to go down every rabbit hole of what if this happens, what if this, what if this, what if this, and talk through our plan so that we know, hopefully none of those bad things happen or unfortunate things happen. But if they do, no sweat. We've got a plan. We've already talked about this, right? So that's a lot of things that we talk about primarily with first-time travelers. Like, what if I get there and my assignment gets canceled? What if I get there and they reduce my rate? Or what if, my dream of going to Charleston day shift doesn't come to fruition at first? Like, what are we going to do? And we talk through those things so that I like to leave every conversation with a plan A, plan B, plan C. Probably the teacher in me there. But then as far as the market goes, and this might be like a controversial opinion, I just kind of reject the notion that the market is bad. It's not. Nurses are accepting jobs every single day. So why not a member of our team, right? So is it different than COVID? Yes, I certainly would hope so. While that was a great time as far as finding your dream job, it was a horrible time in our country, and I hope that we don't have that again. So I just kind of look at it like, okay, we can still accomplish these financial goals, professional goals, travel goals, but the way we go about it might be different. But we just I just really believe in protecting my mindset and my nurse's mindset too. And so we just focus on the positive. Sometimes, it might take us 52 submittals to get you a job, but we're getting you a job. Sometimes it might take, okay, I really want to Nashville, but I didn't know how fun Boise was. Let's go to Boise first, and then we'll go to Nashville. So just kind of keeping their chin up, educating them, celebrating wins together. That's part of my newsletter that I send out is showing them, look at all of your teammates who got a job this week. Pretty awesome. So I hope that answered your question.
It did. It absolutely did. And I love your mindset too, because it is after 20 years of doing this myself, the ups and downs happen in the industry. But if you keep your mind right, then you'll be able to survive them. And I've done that quite a bit over the years or whatever. And you have the absolute perfect mindset. I wanted to key on something that you talked about there because you answered my third question in that. But I came up with another one here, and I thought it was kind of interesting. How in-depth do you get with your travelers, with your nurses right now, when it comes to career goals, when it comes to saving for retirement, those types of things? Because that is what really sets a dedicated recruiter, a caring recruiter, apart from just a transactional recruiter.
100%. And I would say that really just depends on how much they want to share with me, right? There's some nurses who I am very well aware of exactly the type of house that they want to buy. I'm very much involved in there are some that have physical, bucket list or the little scratch off maps and stuff. And I'm very much involved in those things. And it can really help if you know what your big picture is, because once you start submitting and once you start getting into this travel world, it can be very easy to lose sight of the goal and not keep the main thing. If I know okay, this assignment that we're going on this time, we have a financial goal in mind, then we'll keep an eye on that when I say, well, to get that goal, we're going to have to go to Maine in the winter, which I'll always tell them. I will tell them this all the time. I'm listen, I'm not a salesperson. I don't know how to sell anything. I'm a teacher. That is what I was trained to do. So I will tell you exactly, what's up. If we're going to go for a financial goal, then most likely We're probably going to go somewhere where you wouldn't be on the top of your list. And on the flip side, too, like if I have somebody who says, like, I want to go to, I don't know, Honolulu, Hawaii. Well, depending on the time of year, Honolulu, Hawaii will essentially be a working vacation most of the time. It's like we just have to weigh those things out. And maybe we do have to pivot and think, okay, like maybe I did want to achieve this financial goal, but what's important to me and like my heart right now is checking off this bucket list because I just got married and I'm going to have kids or whatever it is, right? So I feel like knowing the big picture as much as they, want to share with me is essential, like for us driving this ship, basically.
Last question. What's the one piece of advice that you give that traveler, that nurse that you talked to the very first time you talked to them? What's one of the first things that you say, look, this is how we're going to do it?
I let them know that the second that they put in to any website or anything, talk about it on your phone, whatever, technology is going to know that you are looking for a job in travel, and you are going to get bombarded with a lot of pieces of information and a lot of people reaching out. Some information is great. A lot of information out there is really bad. So what I encourage my first-time travelers to do is talk to me about it. I'm an open book. I will tell them whether it's good news or bad news or in the middle. Let's sort through this information because it can be, when you become a travel nurse, especially a brand new one, you essentially become like a student of this industry. And if you're studying the wrong information, it's a slippery slope where you can maybe be informed with some stuff that's not even true. Or heaven forbid, you're having anxiety or worry about something that's probably not even going to happen or something like that. So I just encourage them to keep that circle very small as opposed to their travel nursing team. And one of the people that is the most important is their recruiters. So whether it's me or whether it's somebody else that they work with, whatever, have that person who you trust and really understands this industry, understands the process, to be able to bounce off, things that you've heard or talk things through.
Mary Beth, thank you for taking time out of your very busy recruiting day. I know you've got a lot going on, and so I really thank you for this time.
Of course, anytime. I'll come back anytime.